Number 42, Austin the Stalker. Oh boy. Austin the Stalker was another young man. And let me just be clear. When you get on the chat line, you don't know who you're really getting and what they are really capable of doing. And as I grew and learned more and more about the chat line back then, I realized that they could be capable of anything. Austin was a quickie. Like, he wanted everything quick. He wanted to meet me quick. He wanted me to meet his parents quick. He wanted me to meet his brother. He only had one brother, and this brother, he was disabled. Austin was from the 919 area code. And I went to go see Austin in the apartments because at this time, we done been talking a while, and I'm like, okay. So have y'all picked up on something yet? That I had a bad thing for meeting these guys on their turf. It was bad. I was bad at that, and I will say that, and I will try to say to anyone listening, whatever you do, don't do what I did. Don't be going to these people's houses, because once you on their turf, they can do anything they want to you. They don't have to release you out of their homes. They can kidnap you right then and there. And I wasn't thinking clearly sometimes when I would meet these guys. Sometimes I was just so far caught up in my own pain and delusion that, I would think that, hey, I'm indestructible, but that was clearly not true. I was very easy to be destructed. And I learned this from dealing with Austin, that, just because a person looks what you want, he looks like how you want him to be, and he tells you everything you want to hear, does not mean that this guy has any sane moments in his life. So I get to Austin's house, and another thing, just because they live with their mama or their family members, that don't make it no better. I get to Austin's home, which is an apartment in the 919, and his mother's there, and his disabled brother's there. And the brother looks at me. He's only got one leg in a wheelchair. And he looks at me and he says, "Are you sure you here to see him? Do you know this guy?" And I was like, "No, that's why I'm here to meet him." And the brother kept hitting off like, "You really don't want to be with him." And the mama was throwing off, and she was like, "Well, I didn't even know he had a lady friend. How y'all meet?" And then when I told her how we met, she was like, "Well, he didn't tell us nothing about you was coming, and he ain't got no house of his own." Y'all know them old school mothers will tell the truth on you. She was like, "He ain't got no house of his own. He ain't got no money. If you coming up here to get some money from him, he ain't got no money. He ain't got no, he ain't even got his own bedroom. He here sleeping on the floor." And I was like, okay, well, this is a lot of information. And then the one-legged brother, he was like, "You mean to tell me you let Austin fool you all the way up here?" And I mean, they were like serious, and at the same time, they was like in disbelief. And I didn't understand what they meant by that. And see, at the same time that I'm there with them, I'm having to wait for Austin to get there. I'm thinking Austin is coming in this car that he didn't tell me he got this new expedition thing. And he gets there on feet. He ain't got no car. He didn't even have a van. His mama didn't have a car. His brother didn't have a car. He was on Section 8 housing. Well, his mother was on Section 8 housing and the brother was, but he wasn't even allowed to stay there. Turns out this guy he was homeless. He was homeless, and they wasn't fixing to let him stay with him because they said he was a bad guy. And when a mama tell you that her son ain't no good, hold up now, y'all. I'm laying down telling this story, but let me sit up a minute. If a mother tell you that her son is not any good for a woman, run. His mother told me flat out her mouth in front of him that he wasn't any good for a woman because he had all these childish ways and he had tantrum fits and he becomes obsessed with women. And I was looking like, oh my God, I need to get up out of here quick. And Austin was like, don't listen to her. You know, my mama up some age. They just hating on me. And you know how guys like that try to play it off. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then he said, well, come talk to me back here in the room. And I went back there to the room with him and had to sit on the floor. Had to sit on the floor now. Got on the floor and I'm looking around. There's nothing in the room, because it's not his room. And the brother and the mother had just recently moved there. Matter of fact, the brother's lift, bed, and chairs was not even there yet. The brother was having to sleep in his wheelchair. Whew, Lord, that's a lot. But we sitting there on the floor and he's like, well, I just wanted you to come up here. And I was like, wait, hold, stop. Before you say anything, you got my money. Do you got my money? And he was like, well, I had to go see if my mama got it. Because, you know, the deal for me to come up there was that he was going to give me some money. Yeah. He was going to give me some, he was going to pay for my gas. He was going to pay for me a room. And he was going to take me out to eat. Come to find out, thank God I had my own money. This dude did not have any money. And he started going around trying to sell. He called everybody he could trying to sell his food stamps. Anyways, I left Austin. And I told him, I said, I think it's best we just don't even talk anymore, because I'm not coming between no family like this. And his brother was like, I'm going to distract them so you can leave. Because it was this bad that if I would have left him while he was paying attention and didn't realize I was leaving, they said it would have been like a type of thing. He would have tried to force me to stay there. He would have been trying to fight on me like he had did other women. And his brother, later on, his brother explained all of that to me and said that he was bad at doing women like that, and said that he had some type of mental things going on. And that's why he was like that. And he just didn't understand how I could. His brother was like, "You so pretty. How could you fall for somebody like that? What looks got to do with it? You know, you can be pretty and be pretty stupid, you know." And at this time, I was in my stupid mode, because I wasn't out here looking for love, but I was out here having the time of my life. You hear me? Getting on these chat lines, meeting these different guys, traveling around the different cities, having a good time. For the most part, I was having a good time. I was having the time of my life. And it would be once in a blue moon, I run into a jerk like this who just didn't have it all together. Now, I didn't know how bad he didn't have it all together until I would find out that he was still trying to find me. And my mistake was giving him my name Coco, because to this day, he still finds me under the name Coco. As a matter of fact, it wasn't too long ago that he sent to my Facebook dating app, "How you doing?" And I said, "You always seem to find me. Like, how is that? You just always find me." I blocked this guy, and I've done what I could do to protect myself from him. And I pray to God that God just gives this man peace of mind, He said I broke his heart. I left because he was not who he said he was. And not that I was expecting him to be either. But I didn't want to get hurt and hemmed up because, I'm just out here trying to live my best life, have fun, get around, be around fun people. I had no idea that this guy was as loose in the mind as he was. So I learned my lesson with this. This was my lesson right here. You gotta stop trusting what you hear over the line. Not that I really believed everything that comes out of somebody's mouth, but some of these guys were more convincing than others. So ladies, I'm going to tell you something. If he sounds really too convincing to be true, believe it. Believe that he may not be what you think he is or who you think he is. Because this guy had a whole plan laid out and he was nothing like who he described himself and posted himself to be.